Hi there Star Wars collectors, and welcome to another Bossk's Bounty video, and welcome to episode 37 of Ask Bossk's Bounty. This is the weekly series where you get to ask me questions in the comment section below, and I do my very best to answer them each week. I do apologise if your question doesn't get read out this week, but please don't let that deter you and leave your questions in the comment section below for next week's episode, and hopefully I'll get round to answering them. We have another packed episode this week, so if you do happen to enjoy this video, please leave a like down below because that really does help the video and the channel. And of course, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. This week we are also going to be opening a package which I received as a complete surprise by one of my good friends that I speak to a lot on Twitter. Totally surprised by what he sent me, and it's pretty awesome. So stick around, I'll be opening that a bit later. Now with all that being said, let's get on to the first question. Big Wazoo says, what's the most frustrated you've ever been when trying to obtain a TVC figure? I guess there's been quite a few over the years which have been reasonably hard to get. This one here for me, which was a particularly hard one to get, and it still is really, because as you can see, the one I do have here is a little bit damaged. We've got a little bit of damage on the hanger tab, and we've got a horrible crease in the corner there, and there is even a little bit more damage on the bottom right hand corner. But the Princess Leia slave outfit on the Revenge of the Jedi card, which is reasonably rare, I do believe. This one was a really hard one to get. I don't actually have the one on the return card, so I'm not one to sort of try and get variants necessarily of each figure, but I just do want one of each example, if you like. So this is the one I got, the Revenge one, and I do want to upgrade it because I'm not happy about that damage there. So I'd probably say that's one of the ones that's caused me the most issues. There are some other figures which are hard to get, and just purely because how much they cost, you sort of get deterred by that, and you don't really want to shell out that money. So it's a waiting game. Wait patiently, and eventually one will come up at a price you're happy with. John Sanders says, hi Tim, do you think that the Sandcrawler would be a great HasLab project, as we only had a cardboard Land of the Jawas playset back in the day? Now, I personally do think it would be awesome. I actually did a video about this yesterday. It's up on the channel, so shameless plug for that. If you haven't watched that video, I would really appreciate 7 or 8 minutes of your time after this video to go check that one out. I go through my top 5 HasLab project ideas, and there are some pretty good ones in there, I think, and I'd love to know your opinions in that video in the comments. So yeah, after this video, check that one out. Jamie Brewer says, hi Tim, really enjoying your channel every week, so thank you very much for that, Jamie. Question, what dioramas / movie scenes are you creating at home? I think everyone loves the Mos Eisley Cantina and Jabba's Palace. I'd love to make a Jedi Council chamber. How about you? So absolutely, I do love the Jabba's Palace, and that is what I'm trying to create in one of my cabinets. I'm using the Vintage Collection Jabba's Palace as like the scene setter, if you like. I'm using my vintage Kenner Jabba with the Salacious Crumb. And very recently, I finally managed to pick myself up the vintage Kenner Max Rebo band, and I'm really, really happy with that. As you can see, Max there is pretty blue. You can get them bluer, but his arms and head aren't too dissimilar to his bodies, which is great. I'm really happy with the overall condition. Decent paint on all the little brass pieces there, and all the piano pieces are there as well, which often go missing. What's really, really good about that particular set that I managed to pick up is the condition of the box. It is in exceptional condition, so this is definitely one that's going to be going in a GW acrylics case. But apart from that, I'm trying to create a mini Mandalorian scene. I have actually got someone on the case creating a proper mini diorama for me of the last scene, where they're in that bar with the hole in the wall, and all the stormtroopers and everything are outside, and Moff Gideon's outside waiting for them and stuff. So I'm getting something pretty decent made, and I can't wait to receive it and show it to you guys. Speaking of things that I've picked up, I also did manage to pick up the final Ewok for my collection. This is Warwick. He's definitely the most difficult to get, or the most expensive at least, because of the bow. The bow alone is probably worth more than the figure. I'd probably say the bow's worth maybe 45, 50 pounds. I think I paid maybe 85 pounds just for this Ewok, which is crazy, isn't it? But that does now complete my vintage Ewok collection of the Kenner figures, which is awesome. Okay, as I mentioned earlier in the video, I did receive this package from a very, very good friend of mine on Twitter called Mark. He is called Chocolate Chip Wookie on Twitter. He's got an amazing vintage Star Wars collection, and modern as it goes. He's got lots and lots of Star Wars stuff. Really good Twitter account to follow. And as I say, this was a complete surprise. So I have opened it already. I do know what's inside, but I did want to show you guys what he has sent me because it is pretty awesome. So the first thing in the box was this. And you would think that this just looks like one of those Kashyyyk troopers, but actually this is a custom. So he's been custom painted and he is the Bark Trooper. So what they've done there is they've used the packaging from the Kashyyyk Trooper or the Elite Trooper, whatever he's called in the Saga line. And they've just placed a little thing over there saying Bark Trooper, and they've completely given him a different paint job to match the Bark Trooper. So maybe this one's more screen accurate. But I do want to open this, so I'm not going to keep it in the packaging. He did say it is for my clone collection. So I'm going to go ahead and open this right now and show you the figure. So I'm going to get more of a close-up of this figure so you can really see. And as you can see, it's got like a completely different paint job, complete custom job. And I think it's really, really good. It's going to look amazing in my collection. So thank you so much for that, Mark. I do appreciate it. It was, as I say, it was a complete surprise when the package turned up. I had no idea he was sending me anything at all. But there is a little note in the package as well. So I'm just going to read that out. So here's the note and it says, "Hey Tim, congrats on 8K subs. Enjoyed the journey. Keep on keeping on, Mark." So that's just so nice. What a great gesture. Thank you so much, my friend. And that wasn't all. There's some other little tidbits in the box as well. We've got a cool GW Acrylics sticker. So these are the guys that provide all of our acrylic for our vintage Star Wars. There's a little button or badge there as well. Pin badge. Oh, as you can see there for GW Acrylics. And in true Mark style, whenever you receive a package off Mark, you always get a Topps card as well, which is awesome. So again, thank you so much, my friend. I really do appreciate that. Penguin Master 2371 says, "Where do you consider the cheapest figures in the UK after the collapse of Toys R Us? The toy shops remaining are nearly empty of Star Wars. It appears only online sales are still getting things in, and I prefer to have the thrill of taking the card off the peg." And he doesn't live anywhere near a Forbidden Planet. So the only one really is the Entertainer, and they get a lot of what's called after stock, I guess. So at the moment they've got a lot of the, I think it's wave 2 or 3 of the vintage collection, the one with the Range Trooper and the Han Solo from the Solo film. They've got a lot of that and they go for about £7, sometimes £5. That's probably the best place. I think Smith's Toys have started to get Star Wars in again. I know they did have the 40th anniversary Black Series in there, so that's another option as well. But yep, those times are gone, I'm afraid, buying in the stores in the UK at least, and it's not great. I would much rather go in the shop and, flick through those pegs and see all the figures on there, of course. Owen Brown says, "Great video as usual, Tim. Love the series." Thank you very much, Owen. Question for next week's episode: do you think we'll get the Mandalorian in his Beskar armor in the vintage collection anytime soon, or do you think Hasbro will focus on other characters due to the fact we already have a Mandalorian in the vintage collection? I'm almost certain, in fact I'm 99% sure, that we will be getting the Beskar Mandalorian. Yakface.com leaked a code names for some vintage collection figures that are going to be coming out, and one of them was called Huck 2, and Huckleberry has always been the code name used for the Mandalorian, and Huck 2 as in number 2, we've already got number 1. I can only think that that is going to be the Beskar Mandalorian, and I don't think any figure line would be complete without that Beskar Mandalorian. So I'm 90%, 99% sure that we're going to get that figure. When that'll probably be beginning of next year, I'd imagine. Kenneth Johnson says, "Amazing content as always." Thank you, Kenneth. I do appreciate the comment, my friend. "I love the Old Republic Legacy era. They released some awesome figures from those eras in previous lines. Do you think they'll ever re-release figures from those eras or make new ones? And who would you like to see on a vintage card? I want an updated Revan with soft goods." I think you're not alone in wanting Revan. He was going to be released, but they were going to just stick the old 30th anniversary on a card, which nobody wanted, or they got a lot of feedback for, and they cancelled it and put in Yavin Ceremony Leia instead, which ultimately I wasn't too disappointed about because that's a great card back. But yep, I would definitely like Revan. In terms of other characters from the EU in general, I think the Darth Plagueis figure from the Black Series was a pretty decent figure, the 3.75-inch Black Series. I think that would look pretty good on a vintage card. But in general, I'm not that into the EU per se. It's not something I really focus on. I do prefer things from an actual movie or TV show like The Mandalorian or The Clone Wars. But yeah, a Plagueis would be would be high on my list of things that I would like on a vintage card. Johnny Star Wars says, many congrats on reaching 8k subs and all you do on behalf of the collecting community. Thank you, Johnny. My question is, will the next Vintage Collection HasLab product, whatever that may be available to a more universal audience compared to the Barge, which was mostly for the USA? I'd love to support the future project, but don't want to play Russian roulette with an eBay flash sale. Yeah. You and me both, my friend. The Barge one was a stressful time, I've got to say. Now, I did get a reply from Steve Evans on Instagram about this, and it wasn't good reading. When I asked him about the Sentinel, I said, is this available to the UK? And he said, no, not at the moment. And they're looking at ways they can do that in limited amounts, which sounds exactly like the messaging that we were getting when the Barge was happening, which isn't good at all. You know, the future Vintage Collection one that's coming out or going to be announced next month or in September, that's going to be really hard to take if people from outside the US and Canada can't back that and are available to get any particular tiers or unlocks which may come when you order that thing through the HasLab process. I really do not want to be scrounging for scraps on eBay, as you say, which will be really annoying. What I have noticed is that Zavvi have kind of partnered with them, and they do have an allocation of that Sentinel figure. Maybe they'll be the partner again for the Vintage Collection one. As long as there's somewhere where I can order the thing and I'm guaranteed to get it, which Zavvi haven't been too great with on the past with pre-orders, then I'll be happy. You know, we just want a way of backing it, and I really do hope they give us the chance. Nathan Duke says, do you collect the Clone Wars lines of figures, and if you do you have any ARC Troopers? They are really hard to find. So I don't collect the Clone Wars figures or the animated style figures. They're not really my cup of tea. I don't like the skinny clones. I much prefer the more realistic versions of them, which is why I'm pleased they are bringing out Commander Wolf in the Vintage Collection, although it's not using the sculpt that we all want it to, but still the face that they are doing on that figure is the realistic style, which I'm really, really happy with. So in general, yeah, I do not collect the Clone Wars figures, but I do know some of them are getting increasingly hard to get. I think there's a figure called, is it Commander Colt? I think I saw him go for £150 the other day, which is just crazy. Horror Fan says, great video, Tim. I got a question for next week's Asks Boss. Do you think we will get a general layer from 7, 8 and 9? So first of all, Horror Fan, I want to thank you for being a fan of the channel for so long. I've noticed your comments in my comments section for ages and ages and ages now. It's been a long time, so thank you for the support, my friend. Will we get a general layer from 7, 8 and 9? We kind of, I don't know whether this one can be classed as a general layer necessarily, but she is the Force Awakens one that was released in the Black Series 3.75. Bit of a boring figure, but it is, you know, old Leia essentially. They could repack that one. I could see them doing that actually into the Vintage Collection. But yeah, in terms of the general in her outfit with the sort of gilet that she wears, I think that would be a better version of her. And yeah, of course, I'd love that on a vintage card. Whether that will happen anytime soon, I don't know. I think the sequel trilogy figures are kind of parked for a little bit, aren't they? They're going to be concentrating on the Mandalorian and the Clone Wars. And then once that's done, you know, Obi-Wan will be around the corner. So I think it might be a couple of years until we see some more sequel trilogy figures. Okay, then that's it for this week's episode. Thank you very much for watching as per usual, and drop a like down below if you have enjoyed this video. And of course, if you do have a question for next week's episode, please leave it in the comment section below so we can keep this series going. 38 next week, so stay tuned. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.